Great. Thank you. Well, welcome. Well, I think we're probably going to end up scheduling this again, but because you have come, Erica, I want to just as quickly as possible probably tell you where we are at with rate reform, which is that the bottom line is we are waiting for direction from the Department of Developmental Services on the guidances on this final phase. There is what's called the final phase, or phase 3 of rate reform, which goes into effect January 1st. And so that's when the last increase will be given. But to get us to that place, there are some other actions that have to be taken on the part of us as agencies in partnership with our service provider community. And I did just want to acknowledge again that the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, did cancel the webinar on Tuesday for this particular group of service codes. They have not put out any directives yet, and they did cancel actually the next day office hours with us that work at the regional centers. So where we are at is I just want to make sure the service codes that we're discussing today, 605, 612, 613, 615, 616, 620, and 048. And it sounds like, yes, you are one of those providers. So, basically, we do not have a directive, but I was going to share what we anticipate because there's information floating around out there in regards to what we anticipate happening with rate reform and the actions that we'll have to take. And so I'm just going to briefly go through that based on, again, what we understand could happen. We do not have an official directive from the department yet. One of the main changes is that for 605, our adaptive skills training, there will be new degree requirements for the staff that work for AST providers. We don't know if that means that existing staff can be grandfathered in, perhaps based on experience, or what that's going to look like. We are waiting for information from the Department of Developmental Services on that, DDS. We do know that there will be hourly billing, and that's probably the biggest change for most of these services, is really the transition to hourly billing. And the rate models, which I'm going to have Doris show in just a few minutes, really bear this out. So there are updated rate models that DDS has posted on their website, and we're going to go there in a minute and look at those. And those bear out the new requirements for AST as well as the hourly billing. The other big piece of this is that 048 as a service code will likely not continue. And so any vendorizations for that service code, we're going to need to move over. We do expect that what the department will do is there will be some sort of affirmation document that providers will have to sign that really states that they align with the new requirements. So that's some work on the end of our service providers within the next 6 to 8 weeks that we're probably going to need to get done. But again, we don't have this officially from the department. We're waiting on that. There will be ability for exceptions, and that is the one directive that got released just a day ago from DDS. There is the ability for exceptions, and we're going to go to that directive in just a minute. I'm going to share that. So what I would like to do, and maybe since we just have Erica here, Doris, maybe you just want to go to the rate models, and I can certainly go to DDS site here, and we can share that information. So let me go to the DDS page, and I want to make sure that you know this is your best source for information. That's who we're looking to as well, is DDS. They do have a rate reform page. This is the best place right now to get updated. They're supposed to be having meetings. It should be posted here. I know there aren't any right now. This is where you can find your directives and your updates. You can sign up for these updates. If you open one of these up, you can see how to sign up for those updates to find out the latest on rate reform. But what we're going to go to right now is the rate model. So let's do that. Rate model. There we go. All right. And so we go to ours. And you want me to go to rates only, Dora?
Yes, please.
Okay. Gonna make me save it and then open it, huh? 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Thank you for waiting while it opens up. Gotta enable some editing here. And
We're still seeing the DDS screen. Oh, there it is. Yes.
there we go. Are you seeing it now? The rate model?
And so if you could stay at the top just for now, these
Trying to make it a little bigger. Go ahead. Sorry.
headings, Erica and the rest of the ELARC team, they don't they're not locked. So we'll lose them once we scroll to the right place. But in Excel cell A1, it says that these are the fully funded rate models and assume that the full 10% QIP rate increment is being received. So we can't emphasize enough the service provider directory, and we can go into that a little bit more. But the ELARC is working on column E. There has been rate adjustments revised July 2024 that we unfortunately found out about retroactively. So now we're in the process of validating that data, and we will be implementing the rate adjustment for July 1st, 2024 shortly. And then the column D is your will be your where you're going to look for the excuse me, the rate as of January 1st, 2025. And that's when we have to get you for all of your service codes into these models. But today I want Liz to scroll down to professional services, and we'll start with the 612.
Sorry, you have to watch me scroll, everybody. Here we go.
All right. So on 612, behavior analyst, the rate models include rates where one behavior analyst would be working with 1, 2, or 3 consumers, but not for groups larger than that. And so I'd ask all of the providers to examine how their services are being delivered. What we really need to do is make sure that the services as agreed upon by the ID team and are on the IPP are continued to be delivered. And the intention is to fit them into these service models. But if they don't fit, then we can go to the special circumstances, which we can talk about in a few minutes. If the service is not provided by a BCBA, but is by an associate behavior analyst, which I believe is a BA. Not sure if I'm getting those initials correct.
It's a BCABA, but you're on the right track.
Okay, so the BCBABA, thank you for letting me know. So then there's going to be rates again at the 1-to-1, 1-to-2, 1-to-3. Similarly for behavior management assistant and behavior technician. So those are the services that typically stack up. The behavior management assistant has been used along with the behavior management consultant, which is 620. And that again is at those 3 rates. I am assuming that almost all of our providers under those categories will be doing 1-to-1 services, and that there will be the concentration of the interventionist at whatever qualification level, and one child or possibly adult receiving the services. So those are our options, which hopefully the existing services will slot into very, very nicely.
Do you have any questions, Erica? Since you're our
No, I'm looking and the website you said it is really helpful. One thing that just came up right now that I'm talking is that we're contracted under like the 620 code, but I see that there's other codes. So it was a behavior management, but we do provide like a BCBA does provide service or a BCABA and a paraprofessional. So now does that mean that that 620 code is going to move into different codes, or are we still just 620? And that's what the only thing that we will fall under, or are now, we're able to, I guess, pay, have to do recontracting or reach out and, I'm not sure how that would work.
This one, I think, Liz, if that's
Yeah.
okay. So I think we want to, for those consumers with open authorizations, we want to continue on with what has been approved. Frequently in the past, we've used 620 for what we called regular BMOD, and we've reserved the 612s and their associates as intensive or DTT model. But we can look at your programs and see what's the best fit. Unfortunately, Carla Garcia is the community services specialist, will need to look at the written guidance and see if there is a better category for you to fit into. And what the guidance is. If, for instance, the guidance for the behavior management consultant is that that's a direct service hour by a psychologist, MFT, and LCSW, then we would maybe have to add the 615 if some of the services are being provided by behavior management assistance level.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize we need to get the guidance in hand, but I think you can start to have the conversation now. So I'm glad you brought that up, Erica. And again, I'm from all the folks from ELARC, because everybody else here is from ELARC, I just that maybe joined in a little bit late. The Department of Developmental Services canceled their webinar about this rate reform, and so we're thinking their cancellation made people think this meeting was canceled. So thank you all for being here. I'm glad Erica's here and we can meet with her. So bottom line is, Erica, we can start the conversation now, and I think it will probably take some work with Carla and Doris. Again, it probably is going to have to change given what we know. So we probably should start having that conversation, but without the guidance in hand, we can't really take any action. So we are waiting for that from the department. It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you're here. What I'd like to do is share the one guidance we have, which is about exceptions, just very quickly, because I don't think it's really going to apply in your situation, but I just want to make sure that you are aware, though, of that. So let me go to our trying to pull it up. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to go back to close that out. And are you seeing? Well, that's great. Trying to get to the DDS site, and it's just not showing for me. Hang on one second. I'm just going to close some things out here.
While you're doing that, Carla and I will put our contact information in.
Thank you.
Carla, if you'll do your name and email, I'll do mine.
Okay. I'm doing it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your patience. I'm having a little technical burp here on my computer. It's running very slow on my internet. In fact, you're freezing up for me. So let's get into, let's go this way. All right, we're going to go on a hunt here. So, now I mentioned that the Department of Developmental Services, come up quickly, thank you, that you can go there and get your most updated information about rate reform, and this is where the directives are. Now, that said, they have not posted fully this directive, so I'm actually going to show you that our website also has that information. We have it on our front page. We also have a rate reform page, and I'm going to go there because we have the directive along with attachment A and B posted. The department only has the directive, so I want to be able to reference all of those for you. So are people seeing the directive right now? Oh, good. All right, so I'm going to just kind of zip through it. So basically what it's saying is that again, as the rate reform is going into place and these alignments are happening and service code designations may change, requirements may change, there are some special circumstances that will allow for exceptions from that. One is internally here at the regional centers, we do something called AB 637 waivers on occasion, where we do get a waiver to have services delivered in a different way than outlined in statute or regulation. And so we have to go through those. Specifically, we're going to get direction from the department on what to do about those. That doesn't apply in your situation, Erica. The exemption process. If in these meetings, let's say, that it is determined that the service doesn't quite fit into any of the updated service descriptions, then the regional center would go to the department and request for approval to use the other service codes, the ones that are basically trying to be phased out. And I'm going to go through that list in a moment. And then for new vendorizations, they're really going to need to fall into the new codes. And let me just share, or the new categories. We can't go back and use the older codes. And so let me just show you attachment A. These are, and we have to use the top, the bottom codes are going away. The top ones perhaps can continue to be used. So that's the situation on those. Again, I'm going through this fast because I don't think it applies to your situation. But this is where you would find this. And then this would be, oops, that's attachment A again, Liz. Attachment B. This is the example of how we would make that request, again, as a team working with you. All right, so now I'm going to go back to rate reform. I do want to emphasize the full amount, right? If you want to get the full amount of that rate model that Doris shared, you must do what's called the QIP, the quality incentive, and that is to participate in the provider directory. Erica, are you familiar with the provider directory? Have you started that process?
Yeah, that was done. I think there was a deadline that was a while back.
Yeah.
That was the first deadline. So we did that and I got a confirmation that
Fabulous.
we did that. But I think there was another email that was sent out saying that we would get what's the word that they use? We would get an invitation.
Okay.
So that's where we're at, where we're waiting for that invitation because I think the QIP already rolled out. The provider directory is already out as of the 29th.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm so glad you're up to speed on that. It's going to save. Monique Perez is our newest community services supervisor. She was going to do a whole presentation on how to do it, but Monique, I think you don't need to. I think what's important for Erica to know is that Monique, and she can drop her email in the chat, she's your point of contact for the directory. For our agency. And yeah, we're sort of beholden to DDS when they say they're going to get back to you or they're going to do something. We're sort of the go-between on that.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. It just went live, I think yesterday. And so we're just starting to work with that. So I'm so pleased to hear that you're in there and moving forward. That's great. Monique, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. Again, I don't think we have to do a whole training or a whole overview since Erica knows.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. Hi, Erica. My name is Monique. As Liz mentioned, the project is actually under my unit. So I met today with the coordinators who are going to be overseeing this project as well. We are what is considered the approvers for the information or requests that are coming in. And I was not able to see a request coming in from you, but that's not I think it's coming in phases, to be quite honest. We had, just one, and then we had a couple trickle in. And so with that, if you do have any questions, I did put my email address in the chat. right now, as you probably already know, it's not open to everybody. It's just open to service providers and the region and select regional center approvers. So thank you for being on top of that. I had a few links, but I don't think it's necessary to include them since it seems like you've already done them. So my contact information is there. I'll put my phone number as well if you have questions.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I would definitely reach out if I don't hear from them or I don't get that invitation. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
So really, you know, again, I think we'll be repeating this. You're welcome to come back, Erica. Unless you have any questions, I think we can probably close the session. Do you have any questions, Erica?
No, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. You're welcome. That's what we're here for. Okay. You take care. Everybody else, thank you so much for showing up. I'm sorry that this happened, but again, the department canceled their webinar on Tuesday, and I think the assumption was we were canceling this meeting, but we were not canceling this meeting. So we'll have to schedule a repeat later in November. So thank you all so much. Have a happy Friday.